All right, it's story time. So a little bit about myself. My name is Naja. At least I'm going by Naja here on the internet. We'll see how much information I actually divulge. But I'm Naja, and I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I'm a mother, I'm a wife. I work from home. I work for a company. I've been with that company 17 years, been married 18 years, and I have a 16-year-old. And also have a almost 11-year-old. So I'm going to talk about my locks. As I take my locks down, I have my locks in 2-strand twist. So just kind of give you a little bit more about myself and my lock journey. So I'm just going to start in the back. We're just going to work it out. If you see something falling, it is because I do need to clean my scalp. So just ignore that, right? All right, so here it goes. I'm from the East Coast, from the Northeast. Was born and raised there, went to college in the Northeast. So I wanted to go natural and went natural the summer before my senior year of high school. I was away at camp, a summer college program, and just wore my hair in like cornrows and braids and stuff. I promptly came back, and it was time for my senior pictures. And my mother was like, absolutely not. You're not taking your senior pictures with this natural hair. It's like, okay. So she drove me pretty much straight to the Dominican hair salon. But that was the last time I had that creamy crack on my head, because after those pictures, senior year, I was natural the rest of the year. I just kind of wore protective styles, trying to grow my hair out. And if you hear that noise, that's the garage. My husband and kid are doing something in there, so hopefully you can hear me. But nonetheless, so graduation, my friend just kind of hot combed and straightened it as much as possible. Got a hat on it. I looked fine. Threw some loose curls in there and called it a day. I went off to college. Again, I went to college in the East Coast. And again, just kind of wore protective styles, pay, the girl down the hall a few dollars to cornrow your hair, that type of thing. Was visiting the natural salon, wanted some what they call Senegalese twists. I don't know if that's the right term for it. I don't know if we are beyond that term, but this was back in the early 2000s, so please forgive me. But that's what we called them. So there's like some curly 2-strand twists. And she was like, don't you want to go ahead and cut it? Like, yeah, nah, I don't think so. But she convinced me. She was like, look, most of the perm has most of the relaxer has broken off from your natural hair, so you at least let me do that. I was like, okay, all right, no problem. So she did that, put them in the 2-strand twist. Again, Senegalese twist with the added hair, and wore that for a couple months. I think during the summer, I believe it was. So by the time I was a sophomore, I was really ready to start my locks, which I did. And I have been locked ever since. So I've been locked for a total of almost 20 years. It's crazy. You're probably looking at me thinking like, well, how can that be? Like, your hair's so short. Yes, I cut my locks. I tend to cut my locks all the time. Especially now that I'm older, I kind of like them a little shorter. I have had them long. I've had them like almost to my butt long. And having kids, that wasn't the best. I remember we were so broke with our first kid, like my husband was doing my locks, like he was retwisting them for me. I had borrowed a hair dryer because I didn't have a hair dryer. I had to borrow a hair dryer from one of my coworkers turned friends. Yeah, and it was painful. Never. We joke about it now, like, but never again. But, thankful for the experience, thankful for the process, thankful for the growth, and thankful for the ability to be able to afford to get my hair maintenance now. And so I want to say it was after college, after graduation, I had moved to Texas with my husband. That's where I started work at my current company. And a few months later, again, became pregnant with my oldest. I wore my locks for a few years and then took a job with, again, the same company in Florida, Central Florida to be more precise. So in Central Florida is where we, it's different, right? Like Texas is a little bit drier, whereas Florida, the East, especially the East Coast, is definitely more humid. So I had at that point switched 3 stylists, right? I had my stylist and stylist really, but they worked in the same salon in the Northeast. And then in Texas, I really found someone who was just kind of doing bare minimum when it came to locks. I didn't really know too much, I was just like, oh, okay, all right, this is what we're doing now. And it was like totally different than the love and care and attention my locks had gotten before. But, I was in a new state, so I was just trying to figure it out. And then moving to Florida, I found someone, and thankfully, like, I'm friends with all of my stylists to this day. Like, it's weird. But, again, she loved and cared on my locks. She introduced some additional color and stuff like that. She was a great colorist. So, in Florida, I probably use more product than I'd like to. But again, with the humidity, I was just trying. And with, at that point, having another kid, I was just trying to make my styles last and still be professional and stuff, like, you know what I mean? Like I was moving through and becoming a leader and a people leader and stuff like that. So eventually we make our way back to Texas. We like living in Texas, and moved back to the same area. So now I know better, right? Like now, like, okay, let me really take some time to find someone who kind of specializes in locks, and natural hair. And so I went to a pretty popular salon. I went to a pretty popular salon, like because I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. So I went to someone close to my job, which was on the north side of the Metroplex, and felt okay, but I wasn't wowed either. I felt like I was, just wasn't wowed. Found another really popular salon, much, much closer to home, and went there a couple of times. The first time I met a wonderful stylist, I'm like, okay, this is great. And then the second time, I think the salon was trying to like promote, like trying to cross train, and they were promoting like, a really, really good deal on lock maintenance if you booked like at their slower times, like during the week, which for me worked great, right? Like, cause I work. So you telling me you can squeeze me in on a lunchtime and I can pay, like during my lunch, you could pay, and I could pay half price almost, right? Half price. Let's go for it. Not realizing at the time that they were indeed trying to cross train, and it was someone who was used to just only like doing extensions and stuff, like sew-ins and stuff like that, which again is fine if you're trying to learn, but it didn't seem like the shop owner or anyone else was there to kind of help with that. So I got a little annoyed and almost disenfranchised. Come to find out, the one stylist I went to who I loved was leaving that salon and starting her own. And I've been with her ever since. She's been retired, not retired. She's been part-time. I'm still with her. I'm rocking with her to the end, because I know her, I trust her, and I think she cares about what she does, and she cares about her end product. And she doesn't mind like roughing it out with her clients, right? Like she's and has good business practice. Like I almost never have to wait for her, right? Like, and even so, like she's like, okay, if you late, there's a fee, and if I'm late as a stylist or I'm running behind as I'm give you a discount. Like, yes, please. You know what I mean? Which almost never happens though. Like at this point, it's been 6 years, 7 years. I mean, actually, I feel like maybe even longer than that. Yeah, I think it's been even longer than that, but nonetheless. So my hair is short now because a couple years ago, I think it was 2021, I decided that I wanted to start over. As I talked about with my lock journey and going natural, I had protective styles during the whole time I went natural, and then I immediately locked. I didn't just like wear my hair out. Like I didn't do a wash and go. I could not have told you at that time what type of hair texture I was or anything like that. Like I didn't know. I had no clue. And because of all the moving around and the different stylists and stuff, again, whom I love, who I'm still friends with to this day, who been to my wedding and been to my home, I wanted a change. I wanted to see my hair. I wanted to say I've experienced my natural hair outside of being locked. And so I did pretty much a big chop. I would say that it was just maybe a couple inches long. Well, probably a little bit more than that. I think I have a picture and I'll try to add it here. Yeah, it was dramatic. For everyone. Like I remember walking in, my kids and my husband looking at me like, what did you do? But it helped. It helped me learn that I have multiple textures in my hair. It helped me learn that, you know, what kind of styles I liked and I didn't like. I got to play around with, you know, just braids and cornrows and, what else? Oh, I was good for a, crochet style, like throw it in there. So, you know, it was fun. I'm glad I did it. I think I was natural for around 18 months, give or take. And then I decided that I was ready for my locks again. Like I knew at that point I was going to relock my hair. Like it was no doubt about it. It was just what I wanted to experience at the time. And again, I'm glad I did. Like I'm glad I had that opportunity. And so now I grew my locks back out. And then I'm going to say earlier this year, I decided to cut my locks. I wanted a shorter style. This was the shortest I had cut them, so I mean they were like really here, and it's all curly now, so it's not really showing how long they actually are now. But yeah, it was a cut all the way around. I love it. I love them. I do tend to prefer them longer, so where they're almost at now, like right around the shoulder length is where I kind of prefer them. As I can get them up in a ponytail because I love me a good ponytail. Even though, you know, I don't think it's the best style on me. I actually like the style. But anyway. So yeah, so I've come a long way with my locks. I do tend to keep my hair colored. Right now, unfortunately, like my roots are growing out, so I've got like 3 different colors going on because we colored it this like red. And if you look, like I think even my like profile picture here, you'll see that it's all red, but then the blonde, I guess, decided to show back through, which is fine. I really don't care too much. I am kind of contemplating when am I going to color my hair again. I color it just because I think it's more flattering. Like the color is more flattering. Like my dark natural hair is pretty dark. So I do either keep like color or highlights on it, generally speaking. I tend to only do it though like once every other year. And so since I had just did, well, I feel like I just did the red, probably going to wait a bit, but we'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling. Right now I haven't really done much in terms of styles. Like these two strand twists tend to be my go-to. Number one, they help my style, my maintenance last longer. And number two, I like how it can be curly and stuff. I tend to take them out once the rubber bands start popping, and they start popping on their own. So let's see. My style, I also appreciate my stylist because she doesn't use anything but like water, like and oil, like maybe rose water or aloe vera water, and some, essence and stuff like that, and oils. That's it. That's all you need. You don't need any of the products. None of the products that are on the store shelves. She like shampoo. She has her own that she uses. I can kind of guess what the base of it is, but again, it's essentially the same thing, right? No conditioners in the hair. Like I appreciate that, right? I understand everyone is different and they think they need to do different things with the hair, like the gels and the, I don't want to call out like a specific brand, but lock gels and stuff like that. Nah, you don't need none of that. And if anything, you're just adding buildup to the hair. So I appreciate that, like, I can grow my hair out, and when I want to like cut it or trim it or whatever, I'm not going to have buildup in my locks, like product buildup. You don't need to condition it, like condition your scalp, sure, but to use a conditioner, like you really, really, really have to be thorough and know what you're doing. And it's just not needed. Like if you want to lock soak and things like that, I would, but rarely is it actually needed unless you've been doing all those things, unless you work, in a coal mine or something, somewhere is dusty or whatever. Other than that, like, lock life can be pretty simple. I do refer to them as locks. I do not refer to them as dreads. It took me a while to learn that, but when I first got locked, my locticians in that hair salon schooled me, like, hey, this is the terminology we use, and this is where dread come from. Like, it's a dreaded thing that my hair naturally does this. No, it's not. It's not something I dread. It's not something negative. And so some people are like, oh, I'm gonna call it what I want to call it. You can. You got that. You have that right. But don't be mad if someone tries to educate you to see a different perspective. Like, don't shut that down. So they're my locks. Just in case anyone's wondering, like I said, I have a husband and 2 sons. None of them are locked. We never really even considered locking their hair. My husband just kind of rocks a Caesar, and so does my youngest. My oldest has decided to grow his hair out, but right now he's just kind of rocking a fro. Trying to figure out what he's going to do with his life, with his hair. I've asked him, does he want a lock? He said no. I asked him, does he want like braids or twists or something, or cornrows? No. So I'm just supporting him, making sure his hair just stays moisturized and clean and presentable. Otherwise, he can do what he wants to do with his hair as well. So I'm taking these twists out. Like I said, I do need to cleanse my scalp and any buildup in the actual like root of the locks, because again, they've been twisted, so they kind of twist together. She threw in a braided, like a 3 twist. I can see that. It's like a twist. It's not a braid, but it's not a twist, but it got 3 of them in there. So yeah, none of them are locked, but if they wanted to be locked, okay, let me think. I don't even think there's anyone else in my family that's locked. No one else in my family is locked. So I don't, I'm trying to think back, like, did anyone ever look at me crazy? I think my mom had to come to the conclusion, like, she's going off to college, she's grown, she's going to do what she wants to her hair. And it all worked out. I kind of had to have that same conclusion with my oldest son, when he was just like, I don't want another haircut. And I'm just like, okay, so what do you want to do? Well, I don't know. And so that's different, right? I get that. I guess that was my concern. Like, you're not telling me what you want, right? It's not like, you know exactly what you want and I'm not supporting. It's just you're telling me you just don't know what you want to do with your hair and what you need to do. And it's just, that's a little concerning. But it took me back to that time where I just kind of had to say, that's what he wanted to do for years. For at least like a year and a half, 2 years, I fought with my mom about what I wanted to do with my hair. And I didn't want to do that with him. And it's not that we were fighting. I was just confused. I just wanted him to vocalize, what do you want? Tell me so I can help you. He still hasn't told me, but like, at least we know, okay, well, you need to moisturize. Here's some moisturizer. Here's some oil. Right here. Here's a pick. here's a Y2 comb. Here's a brush. Right. Like, let me know what else you need. Here's a spray bottle. Like, at least we've gotten that far. So here we are. So like I said, I need to clean my scalp, but I will rock this for the next few weeks before my next maintenance. And we shall see. It's winter. That's another right thing. I definitely keep this like this during the summer. It's sweating. These kids got me outside, football practice and all that other stuff. So now that we're almost ready for fall, it's not quite fall here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Now that we're almost ready for fall, I would probably have more styles, maybe just keep it down once it gets cold in the winter, and I know I'm not gonna sweat it out. So that's it for now. That goes my lock journey and the current state of my locks. I think I got them all out. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know your comments. Are you locked? Do you want to be locked? Have you been locked before? And if there's anything else you want me to talk about, discuss about myself, about my life, let me know. Thanks. Take care. Bye, y'all.